With the fourth installment of the Expendables franchise gearing up for a power-packed release, we simply could not stop ourselves from going back to explore the franchise timeline and reminisce about the most exhilarating blockbuster movies casting only the greatest action movie heroes from our childhood. Who would not like to see Sylvester Stallone and Jason Statham along with Bruce Willis, Antonio Banderas and Chuck Norris on the screen from time to time? For those who are yet to explore the franchise, these films have very little talking and 10 times more whooping. So if you have the taste for testosterone-filled classic 80s juicy action flicks featuring a troupe of badasses working together for the greater good, this franchise is definitely your jam. In this video, we will explore all 3 movies in the Expendables franchise, which will surely be enough to convince the world that Sylvester Stallone definitely still got it. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Before we get into our explanation, we do have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The Expendables, 2010. The Expendables introduces a group of impeccably skilled elite undercover mercenaries based out of New Orleans. A level-headed Barney Ross leads the Expendables crew with Lee Christmas, the blade specialist, as his second-in-command. The rest of the team includes Yin Yang, a highly skilled martial artist, Gunnar Jensen, a battle-hardened military veteran, Hail Caesar, the team's weapons specialist, and Toll Road, an expert in demolitions. Their latest mission takes them to the treacherous waters of the Gulf of Aden, where they are tasked with rescuing hostages held captive on a vessel by ruthless Somali pirates. We are talking about a crew of at least 50 armed men who would brutally mutilate anyone for money against these 5 skilled Expendables. In the smoothest possible manner, the crew takes out the leader first and then blasts off the rest of the pirates. However, things take a grisly turn when Gunnar attempts to hang one of the pirates, but Yang intervenes, preventing a potential war crime. One thing to note here, no matter what the situation, the Expendables don't fight dirty and hence do not hesitate to call anyone out on their bullshit, even if it is one of their own. Yang attacks Gunnar and tries to stop him from hanging the pirate, but Barney Ross sweeps in and gets a hold of Gunnar, reluctantly discharging him from the group because the crew believes that the violence has gotten to his head, proving him to be a liability for them. After coming back home to New Orleans, Lee visits his girlfriend Lacey, only to find out that she has moved on with another man. Beneath the tough guy exterior, Lee is visibly affected and visits their hangout place at Tool's Tattoo Bar to blow steam off, as Barney gets the Expendables emblem tattooed on his back, a raven mounting on top of a brisk human skull. Following this, we see a short cameo of Arnold Schwarzenegger as Trench Morser visit a mysterious contact, Mr. Church, for a new mission alongside Barney. Trench passes the mission contract to Barney, which involves overthrowing General Garza, a ruthless dictator on the island of Villena in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, Mr. Church is actually a CIA agent who wanted to hire the Expendables to carry out the government's covert missions so that they would not have to face the heat of bad press amongst the public. Anyway, the Expendables settle on a deal of $5 million, with Barney and Lee embarking on a covert reconnaissance mission in Villena. Although they sneak in as wildlife activists, the general's army is everywhere, and so they stay alert at all times. After they meet their contact, Sandra, it turns out that she is General Garza's daughter. Their cover is blown when an army personnel walks in on Sandra, showing Barney around, paving the way for a whole army of at least 15 guys attacking Barney and taking hold of Sandra. They almost get him until Lee's blade intervenes the sight right on time, leading to one of the juiciest action sequences in the movie. In the next 15 minutes of the film, they take down the crew attacking them, drive all the way back to their airplane while smashing every person who tries to stop them, and then launch an attack on the general's army, killing 41 of his soldiers with an alternate series of simultaneous gunshots, explosives, and blades. Now Sandra refuses to leave Villena out of loyalty for her homeland, which really bugs Barney, but he still agrees with Lee that this will be a suicide mission given that Garza is a mere puppet whose strings are being pulled by James Monroe, a former CIA officer who has gone rogue and seized control of the drug money that funds the CIA's covert operations. He has manipulated the general with his black money so he can maintain power for his own profiteering schemes. So basically, they realize that Garza was never the target. It was Monroe they were hired for because the CIA could not officially authorize a mission that would invoke a potential scandal. When Barney returns, Gunnar tries to convince him to let him back on the team, but he declines. So Gunnar does what every ego-sunken man would do. He approaches Monroe with an offer of assistance, who is busy tightening his grip on Garza's regime, resorting to extreme measures such as waterboarding Sandra for information. Meanwhile, back at New Orleans, Ross seeks counsel from Toole, who once worked missions alongside him. Toole mentions how the rigorous violence blackens one's soul, but his haunting confession about failing to save a woman from killing herself even when he could stop it is what makes Barney change his mind. Even one innocent life saved is enough, which inspires him to go on a rescue mission for Sandra, even if it means going solo. Even though Lee backs out, Yang insists on accompanying him. While on their way, Gunnar and a group of mercenaries hired by Monroe pursue them, leading to a tense showdown in an abandoned warehouse. Gunnar and Yang engage in a hand-to-hand confrontation, with Gunnar almost impaling Yang, which is narrowly avoided when Ross shoots Gunnar an inch away from his heart to prevent him from harming Yang. In a surprising turn, Jensen gives up the valuable intelligence about Garza's palace when Barney asks him to reconcile for one last time. When Ross and Yang return to their plane, they find the rest of the team ready and waiting. Like Hale said, they would die together if needed. Together, they infiltrate Garza's heavily fortified compound. Now Garza, believing Monroe hired the team to assassinate him, orders his soldiers to prepare for a showdown. He threatens to kill Monroe if he does not let his daughter go. On the other hand, the Expendables strategically place explosives throughout the compound. With precision, they take on Garza's soldiers one by one. Just before Sandra can be further tortured, Barney swoops in to save her, slicing the army on their way out. They are really close to making their escape, but Barney gets captured by Monroe's henchmen. The team is already out and waits for the building to explode, but goes back in for their comrade, incarcerating Monroe's third-in-command with a clean blade to his neck. However, they find themselves pinned down by Garza's forces while Payne, one of Monroe's loyalists, engages Barney in a fierce hand-to-hand battle. Now Hale takes matters into his own hands, launching a counterattack and almost blowing all the soldiers off their path as Payne narrowly escapes. Here, Garza, having finally mustered the courage to stand up to Monroe, orders him out of Vilena, even returning his ill-gotten gains. While Garza tries to talk his army into erasing the American disease, Monroe takes a clean shot at him, whooping his ass out of the palace. This prompts Garza's soldiers to open fire on the team, who are still mistaken as Monroe's allies, leading to a chaotic firefight as they fight their way through, detonating the strategically placed explosives and decimating the compound, while Monroe escapes with Payne and Sandra. The next few minutes of the film is back to Barney killing multiple soldiers at once, Hale blowing off buildings with his gun, Lee slicing everything on his way, Yang detonating bombs, and Toll Road ending Payne in a sweet, fiery demise. In a final showdown, Barney takes a shot at Monroe to his face while Lee throws a blade to his chest at the same time, bringing the rogue's rule to an end. In a surprising gesture, Barney decides to give his share of the mission reward to Sandra to help restore Vilena. The team returns home, celebrating their successful mission at Toole's tattoo bar, with the redeeming Gunnar among them. Amidst the revelry, Christmas and Toole engage in a friendly knife-throwing competition. As Christmas composes a humorous poem about Toole, he delivers a jaw-dropping bullseye from outside the building, sealing their victory and strengthening their camaraderie. Overall, the first installment of The Expendables is a high-octane action film, boasting intense combat sequences that are a treat for action enthusiasts. However, some of the action scenes, shot with shaky handheld cameras and excessive close-ups, can be disorienting, reminiscent of Ang Lee's Hulk. Stallone suffered 14 injuries while filming this movie, and honestly, the carnage we see in the movie is a real testament to that. The explosions are so freaking iconic that one of the cast members almost lost a leg while filming the end scenes. The film's main draw is its action, and it delivers. The climax, a half hour of unrelenting old-school mayhem, pays homage to 80s action films. While it may not cater to critics focused on plot and character development, it provides the adrenaline-pumping, action-packed spectacle that fans crave. The Expendables 2 from 2012. In their second installment, The Expendables made a comeback with an equal bang. Things get juicier and more serious, almost like how they build up tension in a James Bond film, as Bruce Willis makes a return as Mr. Church, the shady CIA agent. Only this time, his role is definitely much more than a small cameo. He offers Barney an offer he cannot refuse, and just like that, the Expendables get back in action, even if they are forced into it. Jean-Claude Van Damme steps into the role of the film's main antagonist as the ruthless mob leader named Villain, who plans on making a fortune by mining weapon-grade plutonium. Alongside cocky snarling, there is also a personal vendetta set up early in the film, giving Barney a reason to track, hunt, and eliminate his adversaries. So their mission takes them all the way to Nepal, where they have to save Dr. Zhao, who is being held hostage alongside Barney's rival Trench. Their mission deems successful after some classic gun, knives, bombs, and bullet action, followed by which Yang decides to leave the team to safety and help Zhao get back to China. When the crew make it back home, Billy reveals his intention to retire and live with Sophia, his girlfriend, just before Barney is forced to accept a new mission from Mr. Church, which involves retrieving a highly classified item from a knocked-out plane in Albania. Now, this mission is quite unusual because Church is holding a grudge against Barney and his men, who apparently robbed him of the $5 million after killing Monroe and destroying all the drugs in the process. Of course, all of this is bogus, but what choice do these men have? Church assigns Maggie Chan as a technical expert who will assist the team in tracking the safe holding the said item, which really feels more like a code word for keeping an eye on them on his behalf. The team gears up and embarks on their mission to Albania and even successfully retrieves the item until they are ambushed by an international rogue weapon dealer named Jean Villain, who is accompanied by his henchman Hector and their mercenary group called the Sangs. Amidst the showdown, Villain manages to ensnare Billy and threatens to kill him in case the item is not peacefully handed over to him. The Expendables definitely care more about their comrade over anyone else and hand over the item to them, but Villain plays it dirty and roundhouse kicks a blade knife through Billy's heart despite receiving what he wanted. As the Sangs elope on their helicopter, the Expendables are left in despair and Barney discovers a letter from Sophia on Billy's body. The death causes Barney to lash out at Church over the phone, blaming him for Billy's death and basically calling him a coward because he pretends to be a tough guy calling the final shots, but in reality he lacks the balls to do it himself. In a dramatic turn, Maggie reveals that the classified item is actually a computer containing the location of a total 5 tons of pure plutonium left by the Soviet Union post the Cold War. Now, Villain plans to retrieve the location, mine the plutonium, and illegally sell it. So the Expendables barely manage to track the computer's blueprint signal and trace Villain to Bulgaria. Before initiating their next attack, the crew decides to rest on a Russian military base for the night, but before the team can leave the next morning, they are again ensnared by Villain's Sangs along with a tank. When the team completely runs out of ammo, Booker, starring Chuck Norris, swooshes in with a smooth save and instantly overthrows the Sangs and their tank. It is revealed that Booker is an old friend of Barney, who has information about a village that hates everything that Villain stands for. Meanwhile, Villain and Hector have found the embedded plutonium and start digging and extracting the radioactive element. After making it to the village, the Expendables find weaponized female villagers protecting their remaining families from Villain's evil forces, as the locals have been taken as slaves and forced to labor in a mine, never making it back to their homes. After learning the horrors of Villain's exploits, the Expendables decide to help the women and this time ambush the Sangs when they arrive to abduct more villagers to enslave. With every last Sang incarcerated, the crew then proceeds to locate the mine and Villain. Upon arrival, they assault the entire area from their airplane, wreaking havoc on the Sangs and finally crashing it inside the mine. Although the team manages to save the enslaved population at the mines, Villain along with Hector make a run for their lives, taking the plutonium with them. But before their departure, the thug detonates the explosive charges within the mine, blowing it up with the Expendables and the miners trapped inside. This is when Trench and Church arrive, liberating everyone before pursuing Villain along with the Expendables. They stop Villain at the airport as he tries to escape with Hector. Booker also joins the team and the next few minutes go down into nothing but pure gold action as all heroes emerge in their glory to avenge Billy's death. The showdown ends with Lee beheading Hector and Ross defeating Villan in hand-to-hand combat, finally stabbing him like he stabbed Billy, putting an end to his reign of terror. At the end, Church gives Ross an ode biplane. Maggie, Church, Trench and Booker then take a leave from the team. We see Billy's girlfriend Sophia receiving money and his letter back in France. The film ends on a rather poignant note as the Expendables leave in a plane, giving a toast to their comrade Billy. The film intricately shows its potential for longevity and fully embraces a stripped-down approach to technology and weaponry, favoring good old guns, knives and brass knuckles. The Expendables 2 doesn't aim for intellectual depth, it's all about big guns, muscles and explosions. The film revels in its over-the-top violence, featuring CG blood, gore and decapitations that border on the cartoonish. The heroes dispatch their foes with ease, with no remorse. Directed by Simon West, the film improves the clarity of action scenes compared to the first installment, allowing audiences to better appreciate the stunts and choreography. However, like any juicy action flick, the movie doesn't delve into character development, focusing primarily on the bromance between Barney Ross and Lee Christmas. But this time, the plot provides Sylvester Stallone with movements to showcase his acting chops amidst the action-packed chaos. The Expendables 3 from 2014. The Expendables 3 is just one of those films where the action simply washes over you and all that remains is a nostalgia-filled smile, as we see our favorite heroes make a comeback for mindless violence and comfortable humor. This film focuses more on acquiring a new demographic of their audience and hence expanded their cast with younger actors, veering from its family reunion-style casting of old action film legends. So the addition of the new veteran stars with younger ones really brings it all with the franchise's third installment. The film opens with the team launching a daring mission to intercept an armored train in motion. Barney leads Lee, Gunner and Tollroad to rescue a dangerous prisoner named Dr. Death, who apparently has mad crazy skills. As the mission unfolds, the Expendables engage in a fierce firefight with the heavily armed guards on the train. Dr. Death is freed, but instead of making a clean escape, he takes control of the train. Ignoring the team's warnings, Dr. Death crashes the train into a heavily fortified prison, resulting in a massive explosion that obliterates the entire facility and kills a corrupt general. It is revealed that Dr. Death is a former member of the Expendables who was incarcerated for a rather unexpected reason: tax evasion. Which is ironic given that Wesley Snipes really struggled in real life due to legal troubles. Anyway, the main reason for breaking him out is to get him back into the crew so that they can stop a dangerous arms dealer named Victor Menz, who is apparently unloading huge shipments of explosives. Together they embark on their mission to Somalia, where they meet Hail Caesar, and next we see a string of punching, fighting, shooting and exploding as the Expendables find their target and bring them down. However, their mission takes a personal turn when they encounter Conrad Stonebanks, a former co-founder of the Expendables who was believed to be dead. Stonebanks, who had once been an ally of Barney, went rogue and became a ruthless arms dealer. During an intense confrontation, Barney's team faces off against Stonebanks and his armed henchmen in a Somalian dockyard. The battle quickly escalates into a gunfight and chase leading to casualties. Stonebanks makes a dramatic escape via helicopter, gravely injuring Hale in the process, while Barney and his teammates escape alive, barely. At this point, Barney decides that he must part ways with his old team to prevent further harm to his friends. He leaves them to form a plan for taking down Stonebanks and recruits a new, younger team with the assistance of Bonaparte. These new members include Thorn, Luna, Mars and Smiley, who are led by Barney and Trench to embark on a mission to capture Stonebanks. They first locate him in Romania and stage an ambush during an illegal arms deal. Despite successfully capturing Stonebanks, the mission takes a deadly turn when Stonebanks' henchmen ambush them. In the chaos, Barney is thrown off a bridge and Stonebanks manages to escape, but not before taunting Barney and sending a video of captured recruits from his new team. As Barney decides to pull all strings to get his team back, Galgo surprisingly locates Barney and decides to join him on the rescue mission. When Barney seeks help from his old team, Lee, Tollroad, Dr. Death and Gunner, they blindly decide to follow him into the dangerous mission. The team finds the building where the recruits are being held captive and rescue them after disabling the explosives set by Stonebanks. Following this, the old team unites with a new crew to confront Stonebanks and his henchmen. A fierce battle ensues, with the Expendables and recruits taking on Stonebanks' forces. Trench and Yin Yang provide aerial support, while Luna, Smiley and Galgo prove their mettle in combat. The building becomes a battleground as the team eliminates the threats. With Stonebanks' defeat, the team races against time to escape as the explosives in the building count down. Using their resourcefulness, they manage to disarm the bombs and make their way to safety. Back in New Orleans, Caesar makes a full recovery and the 4 new recruits are officially welcomed into the Expendables. Of course, the film ends with Lee engaging in friendly competition, throwing knives at a dartboard with Dr. Death. We can affirm that the Expendables 3 delivers the same action as its predecessors, as the old team of Expendables is now joined by some fresh faces, offering a thrilling roller coaster of adrenaline-pumping action, wrapped in a straightforward plot that seamlessly blends drama and humor. If you do give this one a chance, expect a barrage of weapons and martial arts sequences, jaw-dropping special effects at a breakneck speed that will keep you glued to your seat. The humor in the film is a standout element, with Banderas delivering rapid-fire comedic lines and Snipes humorously referencing his own real-life legal troubles. While there are some minor drawbacks, such as a somewhat rushed final battle and Jet Li's limited screen time with a lack of martial arts action, the film remains entertaining. What do we know about the upcoming Expendables film? Barney Ross is making a triumphant return for a final showdown, and he's not going alone. Sylvester Stallone's iconic veteran mercenary is gearing up for The Expendables 4, the 4th installment in the action-packed franchise, which is set to release very soon. What began more than a decade ago is finally reaching its conclusion. In this latest outing, the tried and true formula of a group of battle-hardened mercenaries embarking on a high-octane adventure to correct injustice will continue. However, there is a twist this time around, and it is rumored that focus may shift from Stallone's character to the other main characters that we have come to know from previous films. The film is officially slated for release on September 22nd, 2023 in theaters, but fans got a sneak peek of the trailers teasing intense action sequences featuring Jason Statham's Lee Christmas and Megan Fox's Gina. The film's Red Band trailer, released on August 23rd, 2023, emphasizes the R rating and the star-studded cast, blending franchise veterans with newcomers. The Expendables 4 will see Barney Ross and his crew of mercenaries taking on an arms dealer who commands an invulnerable private army. While key characters like Barney, Lee, Gunnar and Toll are returning to reprise their roles, the spotlight will shine on Lee's character this time. This hints at the possibility of significant developments for these characters, such as Barney potentially meeting his end or passing the leadership torch to Lee. As The Expendables 4 promises an emotional farewell for Barney Ross, fans are eager to witness the thrilling conclusion to this action-packed journey. Sylvester Stallone's commitment to the project, despite its ups and downs over the years, ensures that audiences can anticipate an R-rated film filled with intense violence, colorful language and daring escapades. Marvelous verdict. It can be insinuated that the upcoming Expendables 4 is one last hurrah for our childhood legends being back to the screen for one last adrenaline-pumping, mindless action flick. No drama, no multi-layered, mind-racking nonsense, just a simple plot with back-to-back action scenes that will make you jump on your seat. Now that there is barely any time left in between the new film's release, this is your sign to give yourself a break from the mundane life and take yourself on an electrifying Expendable marathon. For those who are a true fan of the franchise, which Expendables installment is your favorite? Please let us know in the comment box below.